Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This video effectively follows on from Sunday's orchid chat with our spotlight on the genus Coelogyne, which I have an amount. I won't say lots, but quite a few. And these two have never been repotted, and both are showing signs of new roots. So now is a good time to get them repotted. Some Coelogynes have a habit of sulking. They don't take kindly to root disturbance, therefore repotting upsets them, and some of them will just stall and then they will not grow for quite some time in some cases. But catching them at the right time is part of avoiding that, so let's hope that's what we're doing here. That will leave the big one that I'm not doing today. All the other Coelogynes will then have been repotted. The Nitida that's not doing very well, Carol mentioned that that's the second one I'm losing. I haven't lost it yet. Never give up. But the first one I did lose. And hers was being lost at the same time, and she read somewhere that they like quite a bit of moss around the base and everything, which they are often found on mossy rocks, so you know that sort of rings true. And I thought, well, let's give it a go then, and I got it down to have a look, and it's got moss in the pot. It had the moss in the mix, and there is some around the base of the plant. So given that they don't like any form of disturbance, a lot of Coelogynes, not all, I'm just going to leave it alone and hope that it will pick up. But by disturbing it yet again, on top of the fact that it's not doing very well and has a poor root system, might be its end. So I'm just going to leave that one. But we can do these two. Now, as I said, these two haven't come out of the pot. So we will see what we've got. This is the cross. This is Usitana crossed with salmony colour. And it does have a new growth which has roots coming out of the base. These are one of the ones that form a spike, form a growth at the base of a pseudobulb, existing pseudobulb, that grows and then basically produces a flower spike, and then carries on to mature a leaf and grow a pseudobulb at the base after the flower or flowers have gone. You occasionally get two as a sequence. Not good. As I said, this really smells mushroomy. This has been in this pot a while. It has old compost and has old tired roots that have no sign of life on them. So that one's not good. But we do have new roots starting. So this might have been caught just in time. No need to untangle the roots to any great extent because I'm going to cut the majority of them off. Yeah, this is a climbing rhizome basically, but as you can see it starts here, that's where it was cut off. First pseudobulb, second, third, and now this one. So it goes from down here in the pot up to here. So a fair bit of this was buried, including this pseudobulb, but the pseudobulb itself is rock hard. So I think we will just I'm just going to trim these old roots off. Well, don't even need to trim them in some cases, they're going to fall off. But they do actually feel firm in some cases. These ones at the back aren't firm, so I will take those off. Those are soggy. But now most of what's left is actually, that's a soggy, oh, that one's already detached. Yeah, there's a few that have got broken tips. That's a soggy one there. It's got a soggy end to it, so we'll snip it. The rest are just not that bad. Just checking the last few over here towards the back of the plant. They're the ones that are most obviously soggy. Right, so I would seriously like to take that oldest bulb off, but I can plant that like that, yeah, so that it's lying flat. That way these roots will get straight down in the media, and hopefully at a later date I can put a knife down in the media or a pair of scissors or something and take the back end of the plant off once it's replaced its root system. Got a decent root system. So that's that one. Just having a look, see if there's any sign of root buds under these sheaths. Doesn't look like it. No. But you can see under this bulb, the second one back, you can see that it did actually produce some roots. They just didn't do very well. So that's one. Pot too big, old media, smelly, and rotting roots to a degree. Needs a new tag as well, that's useless. Right, I wonder if this one will be any better. This one has new roots in two places. So this is grown in two directions here. This is the Speciosa. That's a bit more like it. In fact, that's a lot more like it. So this has been potted at Burnham's. It's one of Burnham's own, I was going to say crosses. It's a variety. We've got a rotten pseudo bulb here, which I will just gently pull off. And we do have some manky roots basically, but we also have quite a lot of good roots, and we have some new roots coming. So this shouldn't have a problem being repotted. Just trying to tease away as much of the older media as I can, but unlike the previous one, the media is not actually going off. But when it was potted up, I suspect that an awful lot of these old roots were not trimmed, they were just left, and they're all on the old part, the centre of what was in the pot. Yeah, so they're relatively easy to get rid of. They're all emanating from the same place, so you can just get straight in there with your scissors and trim them, and they're gone. That leaves the good ones. Now, it's a branching root system. You can see the new roots coming down in the pot, as well as the ones that are coming out from this bulb and from this bulb over here. This part of the plant will need to go down in the pot. There is a trick for that, which I will show you, because obviously if you bury a pseudo bulb, in times when this is in active growth, it shouldn't really dry out. Yeah, so it's going to be constantly moist, and a buried pseudo bulb can rot, and that can set off rot throughout a large part of the rhizome, if not all of it. Can, doesn't always. So that's more like it, and we have a nice new growth coming here, possible spike. And we have one over here as well. So there's one tucked inside there and that one. So we've got two new growths coming on top of the growths we've already got. And on this plant we have relatively plump bulbs. So this is a good plant. Got no problem with this. This should progress nicely. Right, I will have a clean up, find some suitable pots, and we'll actually do two new tags for those. Try and do the tags now as I go, rather than leaving it, you know, they just get forgotten. If I don't get on with it, they just don't get done. So Yes, we shall get rid of the rubbish. I need a new rubbish bag because the last one went out. And I'll be back. Okay, for the one with the poor roots, the last thing I want is these existing roots staying wet for any length of time, because they're only just hanging in there. They might grow again, but I seriously doubt it, so we are relying on these new ones. And I thought I'd try that, because the last thing I want these older roots doing is staying wet too long. And the only way to get media to dry out fast is to have a lot of air around it. So that one's going to go in there, like that, with the new roots touching the media. Now that doesn't leave much room for the next growth, but it does leave room for it. So it leaves room for this one to mature and one more growth. So that will be okay like that. And then this one, which has a reasonable root system, well, it actually has a good root system, and some new growths. This one goes in a slightly larger pot, but will be set away from the edge so that the new growths here and inside that sheath will be in the middle of the pot, and all of those new roots round here won't be on the side of the pot. They'll be set back. So they'll be actually in some media straight away and can grow on. They'll still head for the edge of the pot, but so that's that one. So we'll get the poor one done first. Now media for that, I'm going to put some medium in the bottom of the pot to make sure the air cone actually works. And then for a media for this, I'm going to have some medium, a fair bit of small, which I am getting quite short of, something like that, and I'm going to add some perlite into there. I'll get the tub open. Health warning as usual, if you're playing with perlite, either wear a mask or go very, very careful and gentle. Don't stir it up and don't kick the dust up in the air. The dust is harmful, seriously. So just don't create any. Some people actually moisten it before they use it, you know, put it in a sieve and pour water over it. Gets some of the dust off and stops the dust rising into the air. Right, so we've got to get this well down in the pot. I'm going to use that woody piece of rhizome to wiggle down through the crocking to get this at the height I want, which is there. Again, by using dry media, the media is not sticking to all the roots, the sides of the pot and everything like that. It's going down where I want it, in all the gaps in between the roots. I'm not worried about the back of the plant having media. That's got mainly large pieces at the back, and the media with the perlite and mostly small is coming to the front of the pot and being built up so that it gets to where the roots are. Now, I haven't got all of them. Still build up some more. The fact that the top of this hasn't got perlite doesn't matter. As soon as these roots start to grow, they go down in the pot, and that's where the perlite is. That's where that bit of extra moisture will be. So that's that one. I was going to say I'm probably going to need staking, but it doesn't actually. So we've got enough of those new roots pointing at the media. Good drink now. Wash the dust off the perlite and the small bark, which is a bit dusty, and that one will be hopefully okay now. I do say hopefully because a coelogyne with a poor root system can take badly to a repot. Now this one, has got a good root system. So again, we'll still have some medium in the bottom, you know, to make sure the air can get up through those holes. This isn't an air cone pot because the roots go quite deep, and this is going to be again some big, quite a lot small. When am I next going to get near bark? Burnham's, trip to Burnham's later this month. That will get me near some bark to load in the boot of the car and bring home without paying postage. Do you know, I don't think I've ever paid for postage on bark. I either get it from Burnham's or from Orchid Accessories, Peter White, both of whom come to our shows. And Burnham's I actually go and visit sometimes. I do like, Peter White brings the stuff to the shows and therefore you can see it. It's in clear bags, so you can see what you're getting. It would be nice to be able to feel it as well. And likewise, if you go to Burnham's, even if it's not in clear bags, they will have rebagged some so that you can see what you're getting. So all is well. But as I said, the Burnham's medium bark that they're well, the last lot that I got from Burnham's is really a mix of medium and small. It's not all medium, there is some small in with it, so it's actually, the size varies. It's not all the same sort of size and grade. There is some smaller in there as well. And pop you go. Back of the plant, and we come round to the front of the plant where the media is going to go down in front of all those nice roots. Only a thin layer, not burying them in the middle of the pot, and I still want all the gaps filled up. But yes, this plant has pretty good roots already, and it has 2 new growths coming as well. And all of those nice new root tips are in direct contact with the media, not the side of the pot. There's a thin layer of media in front of them, so they should push on nicely now. Right, there we go, that's that one done. Forgotten which one's which. No, I haven't. The one that had the poor roots and everything, and the old rotting media, basically, that was quite smelly. That was actually bought at Burnham's, but from a private seller. So I think I may have got that at their last Orchid Festival, possibly. But basically there were some sales tables from Orchid Society people, and that's where that came from. So it didn't actually come. I remember now, yes, because I think it was somebody from, it was either Devon or Cornwall, and they had a sales table, and I said, what are the blooms like? He said, if you go and have a look at our display, wherever, like on the right hand end of it, you'll see one with a bloom on it, so that you can get. So I did, liked it, and came back and got the plant, bearing in mind other people were gathered round like hordes, you know, bees round the honey pot, and the plants were going really quickly, so I grabbed one. That's what I got. Whereas this one, This one, the Speciosa, came directly from Burnham's, probably bought at one of our shows off of Arthur in bloom at the time. I wouldn't have bought it out of bloom, not from Burnham's, but it had been rooted well, and as you could see has a good root system. So that's those two done. The only Coelogyne needing a repot now is the really big, the biggest one I've got, the last one we looked at on Sunday. It's huge. It hasn't been repotted since I've got it. It does need doing, but I'm not doing that one today. Two's enough for you good people, isn't it? Okay, so a couple more Coelogynes. I'm gradually getting through them. As I say, there's one more to do. And I've only got, well, I'd say I've got two that aren't doing well. One is poor, in a poor state, that's the Natida. And this one that we potted today is not what I'd call a nice healthy plant. The root system isn't good enough to support it properly. It needs to grow a new one, and I've hoped I've repotted it at the right time to enable that to happen as the new roots are showing. Yeah. And this one already has a branching root system with active growing tips and has some new growth starting, which should generate even more new roots. So good stuff. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.